Philip Kennedy Johnson, Sean Lewis, Scott Godlewski, and Sam Basari continue the Shadowbreed arc as the parasites set a trap for Superman and Superboy, while on Earth, Loose Cannon lives up to his name as he butts heads with Gangbuster as they continue to try and stop Projectorus's alien crew. Philip Kennedy Johnson continues his great cosmic horror arc with Superman and Superboy battling the evil parasites from the stars, continuing to build Jonathan up as the next Superman and exploring more of his views of taking up the mantle, exploring that John knows that there can't be a next Superman since there is only one and one only. It fits in really well with the stories we saw of him in Future State, where he knows he has to be his own Superman, not copy his father, and stop worrying about living up to his name, since he very much does. Johnson also showed that part really well here, with John revealing he's been playing around with his powers, coming up with cool new ways to use his heat vision, something Superman never actually thought to do. Sean Lewis meanwhile continues his tales from Metropolis and gets a little bizarre with this section of the story as we've shifted over to two of the vigilantes who almost immediately try and kill one another. I'm not sure if Loose Cannon being literally a loose cannon was meant to be an in-joke, but it was quite on the nose. And Bibbo also just telling the bad guy all of their plans was kind of stupid, and I know he's not the sharpest tool in the shed and he's kind of a bonehead, but he's not a fucking moron like it was portrayed here, and I don't think he would do something like that, so this story was quite a disappointment. Scott Godlewski and Sam Basari continue as artists and both do a fantastic job with all of the action. Scott did some really creative paneling on his portion of the book, adding some cool perspective effects to some of the pages, as well as making it look like panels were fading into darkness, as Superman himself was being possessed and fading into darkness, helping showcase Johnson's story really well. Sam's artwork was the real highlight of the Gangbuster Loose Cannon team up, excelling at the brutal action and the battle between the two vigilantes. Superman issue 31 was a great continuation of the Shadowbreed storyline, as well as Johnson's build-up of Superboy becoming Superman in the very near future. I enjoyed exploring more of why John thinks that he can't take over from his father, while also showcasing why he should, and why his father knows he is ready for it. Unfortunately, the backup story was quite lackluster, filled with some rather questionable choices for the characters. I'm going to give this issue an 8.5 out of 10. Superman issue 31 finds Clark again writing in his journal, remembering how John told him how intimidating it can be to be compared to Superman, and his Legion friends saw him as a larger-than-life figure who had all of the answers for everything. But Clark found that strange to hear, and how undeserved he finds that assessment. He knows the multiverse is vast, and the more he learns about it, the more he learns he doesn't know everything, and there are still many surprises left, and some even scare him. Superman and Superboy burst into Valdir's home, finding the Shadowbreed infecting him and the others trying to take another victim. Superman confronts his friend, learning Valdir is long gone and he thought to destroy them once, but then he tried to enslave the Shadowbreed and now he screams helplessly in his own mind. The being attacks and Superman uses a sonic boom to disrupt the Shadowbreed. Superboy hits them with his heat vision, but his father tells him not to do that since they feed off the energy and get stronger, wanting him not to hit them directly. John has an idea, firing again, that this time detonating his heat vision mid-air, the bright light disrupting the parasites, allowing Superboy to smash them through the wall. One of the infected tries to plead with Clark, saying that he can feel it strangling his mind and doesn't want to be left like this. The villain tries to grab at Superman as Superboy tells him to come with them. Clark says that he'll find a way to save them all, escaping with his son and the prince. In the sky, John asks what happened back there, wondering if it was like that when the Shadowbreed attacked before. Clark says it wasn't, and this is different since when they all fell to Thakram, the Shadowbreed were bonded to the one who fell, and now they look like they have become living ghosts, controlling these people like living puppets, and while a few aren't much of a threat to them, if they infect enough, they will do some real damage. Clark asks his son how he managed to detonate his heat vision in midair, learning his son has been playing around with it, knowing it's related to the water molecules in the air, so he focuses on a spot and brings the beams together on a molecular level. Clark finds that extremely impressive as they land, asking if if the prince is okay. Quirath says that Faldir took him to his quarters and the Shadow Breed were waiting for them, wondering how long Faldir had been one of them. Superman shows him the device he found in the chasm near the one who fell, asking if he's seen it before, but the prince says he hasn't seen that particular one before, learning Faldir kept a lab on the world and he would spend hours learning from him in it. Quirath says that after the one who fell was destroyed, the Shadow Breed became Faldir's life work, and he believed there were more parasites out in space, and he prepared for their arrival, building many such devices like the one Superman has. Superman tells Yellers that he was there when they defeated the one who fell before with a radiation bomb that made a light the Shadow Breed couldn't handle, and it was based on tech like the device he found, wondering if Faldir's lab could have more tech like this and maybe they could build another bomb. The prince thinks so, but there is no time to build it since there are many of his people still gathered at the temple honoring his father's death, and Faldir and the Yellers will try and infect and turn them all. Superman doesn't want to stop them without the device, but the prince is right, so he wants Superboy and the prince to go to the lab and find the components for the device, and he'll go to the temple. He tells John to stay safe, and if the prince can build the bomb, he's all the planet has. John takes Quirath to the lab, and on the way, the prince asks if on John's world, if his father is a great hero. John knows that that's one way to put it, as Quirath knows that John somehow doesn't fear his father. Superboy says that his father is the toughest guy in the multiverse, but he's not scary, asking if Quirath's dad was scary. The boy says that all fear his father, even death, and that is the measure of a true hero. Quirath says that he has shamed his father with his weakness, and none fear him, knowing one day a powerful warrior will kill him and that will be his story. John knows that he can relate to that way, knowing that he's afraid to be less than his parents. He tells the prince that people on his world call his father Superman, which the prince knows means he's more than others. John says that his dad is more of everything. He's kinder, smarter, stronger, and always knows what to do, and he's the best of them, and that is what it means to be him. John knows that his father brought him out there to show him how to be Superman, but he doesn't get it, since Superman isn't a title to be passed down. It's literally him, and there will only ever be one Superman, since everywhere he goes, people just listen to him, and not even because he's tough, but because he's the most irreplaceable person ever. Superman, meanwhile, arrives at the temple, calling to the people and telling them that they are in danger, but they don't respond, prompting Clark to tell them to listen since the blight is there again. It's too late, however, since all of the people have been infected, but the beings don't think so, since they aren't some mere sickness, and Superman isn't greater than them, for they were ancient before even the first Kryptonian crawled out of the Dandal Sea. The being says that when Krypton died, Superman's people were snuffed out forever, but what the Shadow Breed is can't ever die, since with each life they consume, it strengthens them, and the voice of every creature on the planet joins their chorus that echoes through the multiverse. Superman says that they are parasites and he'll free these people, and the infected agrees, making all of the people race for the canyon and fall off, wanting to free them together with Superman. In the lab, Superboy and Quirath begin their search, with Quirath saying that Faldir knew much about the multiverse and did much to improve the lives of his people. John knows that Quirath really cared for Faldir a lot, and the boy says that it was kindness, but kindness is a weakness to his people, knowing his father was great for his strength and the fear he commanded, but Faldir wasn't great in that way. He was great with wisdom and kindness and taught much of both to the boy, recognizing the king's cruelty to the boy, so he showed Quirath kindness in equal measure. Superboy knows that they need to hurry and find the parts, but Quirath apologizes as John is trapped by the Shadow Breed, told by Quirath that he seems kind like Faldir and he regrets this. Superman meanwhile tries to save as many Thakamites as he can, but he knows in his desperation to save them, he overlooked the Shadow Breed's real plan. The parasites attack him, trying to possess Superman and stealing his vision. Clark can feel them burrowing into his mind, hearing the voices of the billions of victims the parasites have taken, all begging to be free. Clark also begins hearing a heartbeat, knowing everything is okay now since it was his son's, and his heartbeat is his favorite sound in the world, and as long as he can hear it, he knows everything will be okay. In the lab, Faldir confronts Superboy, telling John that the Quirath held up his part of the bargain, and that he will be allowed to remain free from the parasites. John demands to know where the components are, but Quirath says there is no device, and the Shadow Breed completed their work long before the heroes even got there. He says that Superman walked into their trap, and most of his people are already corrupted, but he's the most corrupt of them all. Superboy knows that they aren't done, speeding out of the lab and towards his father, hoping that he will be okay. Clark continues his journal entries, knowing that he wants his son to remember the moment he was racing across the sky to help him the next time he feels he doesn't live up to the Kent name, wanting him to remember in that moment where he was alone and facing a threat threat his father couldn't even defeat. The entire planet wasn't resting on Superman's shoulders, it was resting on Jon's. At the temple, the entire area crumbles to pieces as the now resurrected One Who Fell crawls from the fissure. In Metropolis, Gangbuster takes down Division as Loose Cannon arrives, having watched the woman from a rooftop, knowing that she's more brutal than the original Gangbuster. Loose Cannon stops by the woman, asking her what Division did, learning that he was part of Projectoris's crew. She contacts Jimmy, telling him Division is down as Loose Cannon is not happy how this is happening, but Gangbuster leaves, telling him to file a report, but she was threatened, so she used the appropriate force to protect herself. Loose Cannon wants to talk about this, screaming after the woman. Later at Bibbo's watering hole, the two vigilantes sit down for a drink, with Gangbuster asking if the extra she was fighting would have shown restraint had she let him get up. Loose Cannon wants to know what extra means, learning the woman means extraterrestrial. Loose Cannon knows that Superman is an extraterrestrial, but the woman says that Superman is Smallville and he's got a code. Loose Cannon continues goading the woman, knowing that she doesn't have a code, angering her so much she pulls her batons out. Loose Cannon says what she did in that alley is how monsters behave, knowing he's not a monster and wondering if she is. Gangbuster says that war has no place for cowards and wants the man to stay out of her way since he will get himself killed. Loose Cannon says that if it's casualties he wants, she'll get them, smashing the woman in the face. The two vigilantes viciously fight one another through the bar as Bibbo gets up, leaving the 3-star tattooed woman he was talking to. Loose Cannon goes crazy, ripping at Gangbuster with his claws, telling himself that Gangbuster is the enemy and there is only one way to end this. Gangbuster is knocked out as Bibbo tries to help her up, telling Loose Cannon that he's got to turn himself in as the woman who was with Bibbo uses her hidden powers to infect Loose Cannon, making him see Bibbo as Division. Loose Cannon smashes Bibbo across the face, knocking him out cold as well as the woman says she told Bibbo Division was coming. Later, Jimmy and the other heroes learn Gangbuster is okay, but she's banged up. Bibbo tells the heroes that this was his fault and it was Dolores again, since she called him and she got him to tell her everything they were working on. He knows he needs to make this right as Dolores knows they have only just started making things feel wrong.